fun. So, okay. All right. So, I mean, Chris, if you want to do an introduction, so, this is number one of the
Number one of the series.
of the thousands of podcasts over the next decades, I guess you could say that. And well, for anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Mark English. I've been on the path, I guess you could call it the esoteric spiritual journey, for about 11 years now. I was brought into this knowledge. Someone from the military actually enlightened me on what was going on. The first steps of me stepping into the journey was actually learning about the extraterrestrial involvement, okay, in the government, the extraterrestrial involvement in the child trafficking, and all of the things that has been going on the planet for the past thousands of years. Now that woke me up because at the time I met him, I was actually 19 years old. I was a Christian. And it really kind of, excuse my language, but fucked me up when he said something along the lines of an ET type race or archonic race that kind of co-opted Earth and our experience on Earth. So that was my, but whether you agree with it or not, I'm not trying to say that, okay, this is, it's not for you to agree with me. I'm just saying that's what brought me onto the path. Currently, me and Chris, this podcast is going to be talking about breaking food addictions and breaking not just that, but all mental illusions, government, the medical illusion, the illusion of language and thought form, stuff like that. So I also do energy work every day. I am a steady path on my Qigong, and I do pyramid meditation. So I currently am weaving off of cooked vegan food. You guys are going to remember this first podcast where by the time like we get to the 100th, hopefully I'm like past that. So, that's just a steady introductory. Okay. I am a daily energy worker, and I'm working to get more on lighter foods. And I mean, I feel like there's so much that we can decode because again, just dealing with Chris and he's about to introduce himself, but this is gonna be a session of decoding as well. So, you take the floor, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, dude, what you were just talking about, breaking the illusions and the addictions, in short, becoming free. That's what this is all about to me. And I want to see people free. I want to see people independent. I don't want to see people needing other people for anything at all. Because when they do, even if the other person is not intending to take advantage or exploit the person that needs them, that is almost a subconscious thing sometimes, but it naturally occurs even at very small levels, but it still happens. There's an exploitation of the person that is needy. So the goal for me, myself, was to become not needy for anything. And quick timeline, as a kid, really violent home, crappy situations, got into fights at school. Everything was macho and stand up for your family name and all this typical bullshit that involved violence. And it was just kind of a rough deal. And as I grew, I was very cynical about a lot of things, and part of it was because of that. But it was also, now that I'm looking back on it, it was also because all of us that are on this path of growth, who seem to care about what's going on, had this feeling that everything was just off, like something's wrong with this world and the way it's run. And I don't know who's doing it. I don't even know what they're doing at that point as a kid. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why. It just feels wrong. And then you start learning because you seek it. And one of the big things for me was in 1995, finding out that there was a cure for cancer. That was huge. because that's all I heard about my whole life was donate to this cause, donate to that. You know, they've got cancer broken down into, I don't even know how many different categories now: leukemia, lymphoma, bone cancer, breast cancer, whatever other cancers they have. And there's always a separate place you can donate, and there's always a different way to attack, quote unquote, the cancer, when in reality it's something that's it's natural in your body. And it just means that you've trashed yourself for so long that the body is trying to remove the thing that's going to kill you. And
Cancer's
and
our
no,
friend.
cancer is our friend, but we don't, and it's in you, it's in everybody, that we have cancerous cells. They're just lingering, waiting to handle the crisis that you might have, the trauma. Even like cancer is not just from eating like shit. It's also from traumas. And I won't get into cancer right now. We could talk about this another time, but I've learned a lot about cancer because of that moment in time. But once I found out about that and knew that they had, childhood cancer centers, and they're making all kinds of money, and they know, like the people that run this thing, they know about cancer, and they suppress the cures, the real quote unquote cures, actively, violently even. And I know people who've been affected by it. I've talked to them in person. So this isn't just me reading news articles. So this really got me. And then in 2001, I was threatened with jail time and having my kids taken away because I would not give drugs to my son, ADD drugs.
Wow.
And that was in the state of Colorado, which is supposed to be like one of the more free places to be. Well, nah, not so much. Yeah, it's total fascism, kind of like what we're seeing right now. But I got a direct personal taste. So it's kind of like people right now are finding out things that I found out in 2001 about the whole medical industry and what they are capable of and what they're really all about. And since I knew what they were back then, I decided I was going to become my own doctor. And that was 2001, and I still was eating shit, just so you know. I wasn't special and immediately just, started seeking my highest self. I was seeking truth, but I wasn't really down the road yet. So anyways, flash forward, first fast I ever did, 2008, and it was a 40-day fast, not a crumb of food. And it was because I was scared. In 2007, I learned a lot more about how this world is run. I learned about the agencies that really do the trafficking of children. And this is why I don't believe in Q and all this other stuff that everybody's falling for, because the agencies that are doing the trafficking are supposedly the ones that are saving people and saving kids. I don't think so. So that's what I learned, and it affected me a lot. But anyways, first fast, 2008. And then 2016, I got really serious and started doing urine therapy. And I did a urine fast. I did urine therapy in 2014. That was the first time I tried it. Did an 11-day urine fast in 2015. Kind of fell off and started eating kind of crappy again. I was done with meat in 2012. And then in 2016, I got serious, was disgusted with myself for many reasons. And started doing urine therapy more seriously, and was determined that I was going to do urine therapy until I felt completely the highest health that I could be at. I wasn't going to stop until I reached that point. And I was probably 35 pounds over what I should have weighed. And it's not about overweight, underweight. We find out that the body is going to be the weight that it should be based on what you're doing and what you're eating. The body is not the reason for you losing weight. It's you. If you've damaged your body over the years, your body's going to shed waste, AKA lose weight, based on the damage inside your body. And at first, your body's not going to be keeping up with the amount of shedding, because at first the body is just getting rid of fat cells, which are toxic. The fat was protecting you from the excess toxins you were taking in.
Absolutely.
So it sheds that first, you lose it, quote unquote lose, and then you still lose some weight because you're losing damaged cells of muscle, bone, um, skin, blood, cartilage, everything. So yeah, 2016, 4 months, and it was about 99% just pee. Not even, I didn't add water or anything, and I was sweating. After about 5 days, I was working out, I was sweating, I was running hard, I was working out super hard, CrossFit, 5 to 6 days a week, running 4 to 10 miles a day, roughly 4 to 10 miles a day, like 6 days a week, sometimes more.
And Chris, you could tell him that you actually did it cold turkey.
I did it cold turkey. Yeah, I went
tell him
from
that.
shit diet. I was drinking energy drinks and everything else to stay awake. I wasn't laying around lazy. I was actually working 18 plus hours, 6 days a week. And I was doing that to stay awake because I was not healthy. And I got disgusted and just, that was it. Flip a switch. This is what I'm doing. Went straight into pee therapy. And this is what's better about urine therapy than any other kind of fast, quite honestly, besides dry fasting, which I don't recommend right off the bat. Just going to say that. I think that's a higher level of fasting, and people can do it at their own risk, but I'm not recommending. Anytime somebody's going cold turkey like that, I recommend steps of liquid fasting so you can clear the colon out, because you don't want a colon loaded with shit when you're dry fasting for any kind of a extended period.
Yeah, no water. The water helped to get up the toxin, the urine,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
100%.
Yeah, dude. So the pee, just the distilled nature of pee, leaches the toxins out of your body. So it's a safer way. If you're looping your pee, it's a safer way to fast because you're looping those toxins out of your body faster, even faster than a water fast or anything else. It's a protective, it's the best way to fast, quite honestly, besides dry fasting.
Right. And because in terms of excess water, like obviously the excess blood plasma, because, urine is kind of the word itself is really misleading because you have to see it as blood. It's just elements of your blood, and it's blood plasma. And family, we do have a blood plasma industry where you could donate blood plasma as well. And, for people that are sick. So why not use your own excess blood plasma? And I'm sure we're going to have a whole podcast dedicated to urine therapy and stuff like that.
Yes.
But, it really, one thing that strikes me with the urine fast, because I'm about to do a 3 to 5 day urine fast,
Nice.
is you have a water fast and then, you have a juice diet, and the thing is with urine, you keep all those orthobiotic minerals and stem cells and enzymes, and sodium. You keep all of those life elements of the blood and you literally recycle it. And there is no other fluid on planet Earth that is as specific as your own blood plasma.
That's
so
right.
Definitely it's really powerful. So
it's priceless. It's gold.
Definitely. Yeah. So
it's gold, man.
Bro, so how you went from, the crappy diet, and then you dived right in. And I think it with the urine, bro, I don't know. I think if you try to do like a bottled water fast and peed out your shit, I wonder if you would have been that successful. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I wouldn't have.
I don't think you could have done it cold turkey like that. I think that people, let's say, prepare maybe for a water diet or the juice, because it is foreign to the body still. But because urine is not foreign and the body creates its stuff, sense that when you're in a fasted state, the urine spikes up times 1,000 in its properties. You see?
Yes.
So yes. I think that you gotta, the very fact that you did it, and my good friend of mine who is also on the journey, and he is food free now, He went 6 months on only urine. He did the same thing you did, bro. Drunk all of it. And he say the same thing you said, Chris. It's a bridge. It is a bridge. It is not the end all be all. The goal is to get yourself to the point where it's just an auto loop, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But until then, when you're in a compromised state, you have to piss in the glass and do it manually.
Yeah. Yeah. We just, we cling to things. We like to cling to things that worked for us. But,
Yes.
you know, they're stepping stones too, because we are literally, you know, we're superhuman. We are human, which is superhuman. We're not told this, but these are stepping stones for us to reach that level. Other levels, there are other levels. And urine therapy is something anybody can do, and it's free, and nobody can create that same mix. And I wanted to say, you were talking about the results of, say, a water fast or urine fast. The difference for me was I could drink the pee right before a workout and walk in there, and my energy levels would be way up because of that, just because of drinking the urine. As compared to, say, me peeing my urine out, which would be peeing my energy out, and replacing it with water, like substandard. Why would I do that? That stuff was created by my body. That stuff is my body. It's just like when a dog pees on some a bush or something. The animal that comes up is not just saying, "Oh, another dog was here." It's saying, "Oh, another dog was here. It was this kind of dog. It smelled like this. It looked like this. It felt like this. This is what it was going to do." Like it's the DNA is in there. This animal knows everything about that other animal that left that mark. But we're taught that it's just some simple, it's just pissing on the, it's just marking the territory. No, maybe there's a little more to it than that. But when you live in a caveman idiot society, dumbed down society, all these things that should be amazing and fun to learn become boring. And, you hear it. And if you're a truth seeker, you hear it and it just doesn't seem like the whole truth or the whole story to you. And you don't know why. But then you find out when you're 50 years into this Gregorian chronology, fake Gregorian chronology. Anyways, yeah, dude. So that it was a huge difference. And so once I learned that, and then I started trying dry fasting, what gave me the courage, and you need it, to do dry fasting for a long time. I mean, like, to where you feel like you're dying, because that passes. That feeling of death for me lasted 2 days. High heart rate, high body temperature. Anybody else would have went straight to the hospital, but I don't feel like going to the graveyard, aka hospital. So I trusted my body and found out that we didn't even need to drink water.
Yeah. Wow. And just to ask Chris, and again, family, this was after 2 years of him being mainly on urine, right? Correct.
Yeah.
And,
Correct.
and fruit from time to time, but mainly on urine. So he still, when he went on the dry fast, he still had that detoxification phase. So imagine, imagine someone going on a dry fast that ain't even that clean. You see why people fuck themselves up. You see?
I had to unfriend a guy who I knew that I used to see at the gym all the time. And we were pretty good friends. He had a different take on how to handle things, a little different. But anyways, he was seeing my posts on dry fasting about a year or so ago about how I was not climbing mountains, but hiking, steep, really difficult hikes that are, I'm talking like 10, 15 mile, even one of them was 20-mile hike with no food, no water for days. And everybody on the trail has a water bottle and some kind of fruit at least, or food or energy bars. And they would see me going by with, t-shirt and no backpack. And they're like, what the fuck? And I had a bunch of people offer me stuff. But the point is, I posted on this, and this guy became kind of a hater, you know, like he's looking at it like, oh, this guy thinks he's God or something. And so he was sending me messages saying, dude, you're dangerous. Why are you telling people this? And I said, because it's true. And he said, dude, all you're doing is fasting. I said, man, I'm not even going to talk to you, man.
Well,
You don't know what you're
come
talking
on,
about.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but in his view, that's what I was doing. I was just fasting and bragging about it. And I said, no, dude, it's a process. He said, look, I know how to dry fast, and I know how to fast. And when the time comes, if I need to, I will just stop, and I will not eat, and I will not drink. And I said, you know what? Sure thing, man. But you are going to feel like you're dying, and it might last for a long time. I don't know what the transition is, but if I was dirtier inside when I started dry fasting past 3 days, I would have taken longer to get to the point, or I wouldn't even have gotten to that point, because I know people like the Cole Robinson guy. He's fasted for 7. He's done longer than 7, I think. I'm going to say 7, but maybe he's done longer, but I know he's done 7 days. And I thought, why hasn't he had that transition after 3 or 4 days, which is what happened to me? And then I realized that transition point in the dry fast is going to happen at a different time for each person based on how clean they are or dirty.
Bill, what you did was, and this is still the part of if there's any form of preparation, Chris, because remember you talking about, doing things cold turkey, that should be preparation for the dry fasting. And that's something that I think that is really important, because you prepared your body with urine, the best substance. And finally, he only used fresh urine. You got people talking about, the age urine. And the funny thing is, you have people using age urine, which is, again, I'm sure it's powerful, but they still haven't really transitioned. So,
right.
When you look at it, it's something you said on Facebook. Willpower is the best supplement of them all.
Mm-hmm. There you go, dude.
And this is, and look, these podcasts, family, this is a realist right here. So we can bring it down to earth, and we're going to be very honest about our experiences. And I'm also documenting my own experience as well. So from this first podcast, you're then going to see my progression as well, along with Chris, but my progression towards the transition. So Chris, it's really interesting, the fact that you did 5 days. So you mean to tell me, brother, that this was really the first time that you really did dry fast?
No, I did I believe it was 3 dry fasts prior to this 5-day, but the previous ones were all less than 3 days. They were all in that 40 to 60 hour kind of range.
Okay, so you did about 3 intervals of 48-hour dry fasts.
Roughly, you could say that, yeah, about 40 to 60, okay. Basically.
All right. That's still good. That ain't even like a lot to make the trial when you really look at it, because you still.
They were almost back to back too. Like I wanted to push. I didn't spend a year doing that. I did that in a month.
So you did that in a month, and then you did the 5-day transition. Basically.
I did the 5-day, and that's the one where I found out that I didn't need food or water, and I know this because of how I felt, and because I felt full and satiated, and my lips had been dry the prior 4 days, and they weren't dry anymore. I didn't put any water on them. I didn't put moisturizer on, but all of a sudden my skin's hydrated on day 5.
Wow. And you know that when you have a dry skin, you probably shedded old skin cells, like
yes,
shedded like
that's what the body,
almost like a reptilian, you shed like a reptile, and you get rid of those old cells. So yeah.
Yes. And that's something I wanted to throw in real quick. If anybody's, they're working on their skin and they're using aged urine, which is really good on your skin, and I do believe it has healing properties. But if you're really looking to heal or get rid of deeper wrinkles and things like that, I grew up in deserts my whole life, pretty much dry climates, hot climates. I've been out in the sun a lot, and my skin is literally like a baby. on my arms and everything. And I don't know anybody my quote unquote age that has smooth skin, really, like really smooth skin. You can tell it's kind of aged, but on the face, there's more, it's had more sun. I've got wrinkles around my eyes, but they're not even close to what they used to be. Like, they used to be deep. There's no depth to them anymore. They're just slowly but surely kind of unfolding, going away. And what I attribute that to is I stopped putting anything on my face to moisturize. Like, and when I say putting stuff on my face, while I was doing this urine therapy, I was thinking that the pee would de-age the skin and de-wrinkle, and it does to an extent. But the real deep healing comes from those cells being destroyed. And they're not as critical as, say, destroying cells that make up your heart or your lungs or your blood.
They're the last to really be rejuvenated.
Low priority. It's superficial.
Right.
The body knows that
Yes.
it's not a need, you know? So the body's going to work on the things that matter first. This is what and I'm not saying this because I read this. I'm saying this because this is what I feel from just my own experience, that the body's worked on the important things first. And the very first thing, and this is partly proof of what I just said, the very first thing the body destroys is the fat. And it's not, and people mistake, because they're lied to, that the body is consuming the fat and using the energy, and that's not what's going on. Now, the body does use that water that comes from the cells, and maybe there is some energy stored up that can be used, but the body's not seeking that. It's not doing that because it needs that energy or it needs that water. That's just a byproduct of the real reason that the fat cells are being rid, from the body. And that's because those cells are nothing but toxins wrapped up in water to protect the body. So the first thing that happens is get rid of those toxins. They're right there. It's low-hanging fruit. It's easy. The body does it right away with all kinds of fasts, not just dry fast, right? But when you start dry fasting, you're hitting things that some of the other fasts will never touch.
Yes, it's to another level of, there are parasites that actually live on excess water, and and with the when the body creates its own perfect water, but there are the last ditch of parasites that literally survive under those conditions, so and that's another talk, like people wouldn't even get, like, what do you mean water? Parasites on water. What are you talking about? Yeah, because the H2O, again, that's not really what we call H2O, is used for cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning, like, cleaning your room, cleaning your clothes, stuff like that. It's not really for the body.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really.
In fact, distilled water is the best cleanser, because the things that you're trying to clean or remove, even if you're cleaning a surface of something, the particles that you're trying to get rid of are all positively charged, dead, inorganic matter. So that negative charge of the distilled water, whether it be your pee or even fruit juice or lemon juice, which they use in cleaning, or distilled water, even just plain old distilled water is a good cleanser, believe it or not. So yeah, I wanted to throw that in there.
Definitely. Yeah, I drink distilled water. I like to throw a lime in it too as well. Really. But and that's probably another podcast as well, just to talk about distilled water. So
oh my God.
To get to what'd you say?
Oh, I'm just laughing. Dude, this is endless, but go ahead.
Distilled water, yeah, so it's amazing when you, and then I love how, Chris, even in the way you talk, it's all just from personal experience, and that's what we really want to do.
Yes.
You appreciate books, you appreciate the people that inspired you, but it doesn't really mean anything until it becomes a first-hand experience.
That's right.
Definitely. And
you're never going to hear me get passionate. I'll never get passionate about anything that I have not experienced myself or watched somebody experience.
Exactly.
Or seen it. I have to have that direct experience, or I'm not going to get excited about it, period.
Right, definitely. You know, and you can see just looking at your urine diet, your fast that lasted for such a long time. I mean, I can imagine you didn't tell anybody. Hey, did you tell anyone that you were on that fast?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. You did
Yeah, no,
told
I told people about it right from the start, dude. I was,
passionate.
they, yeah, they shut me down. I had an old account on Facebook called Cristo DeBraccio, which was my mom's maiden name, or my mom, yeah, my mom's maiden name. Or was it my grandmother? Man, I've lost. Chronology means so little to me anymore that I've forgotten. Whatever. But that was my old account, and I got I had more people clicking like, commenting than I do right now on my posts back then. And that was in 2016. And it was getting a little too popular. And I was telling people the straight truth about what I was going through. I documented the first part of it, like the first 12
Right.
days. I
Okay.
documented every day.
Cool.
And then, shoot, I had something to say there, but you had asked kind of a question, and I thought I was answering it. See, I get all caught up. Too
No,
many thoughts. I have a million thoughts in my head.
you pretty much answered it. I said, did you tell anyone? Because that's
Yes.
it's very unusual. Even though urine therapy is, getting quite popular, which is not a bad thing, of course. The levels that you push into, I think the main thing with this podcast is going to help people with is please do not make the therapy your God. So I just want to say this.
Right.
Fruitarianism, veganism, vegetarianism, urine therapy, herbalism, all these isms, okay? Sound therapy, everything. These things do not work. They take you to a place. They're all just therapies. They're not your God, okay? They take you to a place, and they're meant to take you to a place of sovereignty, a taste of freedom that you did not even know exists. And the funny thing is, it's the natural reality. It's the true reality. We've been hoodwinked. And the main thing that happened from the beginning was the installment of words and thoughts. And these particular thought forms that have been implanted into us steal away our light. It steals your energy. Now, it looks just like a simple word, okay? Like just a word that pops in your head. It seems really innocent. But understand, these thoughts have no light. They have no light of their own, And when you carry these ideas and you live by it and you act on it and it becomes your truth, we all make it real. That's based on the collective agreement. The cells start to change to match whatever we believe. Doesn't have to be true, but what the body is doing, the body is a instrument of unconditional love, and you realize you live in a world filled with unconditional love. And even though we live in incorrectly, it does its best to prolong our experience here with the least amount of suffering. So family, even a tumor is an act of unconditional love, an indentured wall, a compact of poisons, okay? For example, if you keep suppressing the cold, suppressing the flu, suppress every time you feel some illness, you keep suppressing it with drugs, with herbs, with food, whatever. If the body cannot eliminate, the body is storing. So for most people on earth, we're not eliminating, we're actually storing toxins and we're holding on to it. And this storing mechanism could be a cyst, it could be a tumor, it could be a boil, a bump, fat around the heart, excess fat, dandruff coming out. So if we did not have these specific things, what they call disease, if you did not have that tumor, my brother and sister, you probably would have been dead 10 years ago, 5 years ago, because that toxin would have been allowed to flow through the bloodstream. So we have to look at disease as not something that that it's not hurting you. It's revealing the hurt you did to self. And the universe is actually trying to protect you and the temple, the major organs, from self-deception and self-denial. So we're going to be revealing in these podcasts many different layers of self-deception, because the mind control is so deep. You go through many different levels and many different phases, you know? So again, we just have to identify that what we call disease is just stagnancy trying to move. That's all it is. The lymphatic system backs up, the blood becomes sluggish. So there's a flow of energy, and these thoughts that you have are causing like a dam or causing a restriction. So when it comes to immortality, it's about allowing the flow to take place. You just sit and you allow, you surrender.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's my
because the body, sorry, that's your thoughts. Is that what you were going to say before I cut you off? Sorry.
No. I was ending it. I said, that's my 5 cents. I'm done.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man, just get out of the way. We always think the body wants our supplement or our help in some way. Don't need your help. Just like nature doesn't need your help. Just leave it alone. You know, you're not saving anything. Just stop hurting it. That's all. Just leave it the fuck alone. And you know, another example of how the body just continues on, and we just need to step out of the way and not put food in its way. One of the things is you could hold your breath and try to kill yourself, and the body won't even let you do that. That's how much the body wants to survive beyond your stupidity and your damage. It'll pass you out. You won't die.
Absolutely. Yep.
That says a lot to me.
You said it yourself, like, you know, there's a natural order in flow, and, you know, we're limitless. And
yes,
it's like we create this, but, you know, we create the void, and it's just amazes me, just going back to the yogi that always used to tell me, just sit and be. Just sit, just allow, you know, enough of all that extra shit. You know, I know you like that deep science and stuff, but I said, drop all that shit. Allow and accept self. See, Chris, when you went into that dry fast and you didn't run to the hospital, you stepped into a mode of 100% self-acceptance, not seeking to alter because of fear. We seek to alter self with drugs, with thoughts, with survival, because of fear. And that's what this journey is about. And when you accept self, like what you did, you realize that you are the epitome of unlimited energy. You are the cosmos, man. You are the cosmos. You are everything, you know?
Yes.
So it's everything about this is in realizing how it's almost like we're like those cosmic children. You ever see a child that been inherited everything, wealth, and they just don't appreciate shit? You know, they're not happy with shit. Well, that's the state of the human being. We are given everything every second. Every second the body's trying to detox itself. Every second your energy body is trying to grow. Every second. We're being bestowed all this sacred energy. We don't appreciate it. You know, we waste it away. And you mean to tell me, my brother, my sister, that we will throw away our immortality for a fucking biscuit, bro? For a biscuit? Think about that. You know? For a bird? A chicken? No.
We will literally lose our vital organs before we will stop eating the fucking biscuit.
Bro.
You know what? I like this. I think this is what we should use as a reference. The biscuit. Don't go for the biscuit, man. Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Stay away from the biscuit.
Stay away, you know. And I mean, you have elders in their 60s, 70s, and I'm not trying to judge, but you still eating the chocolate cake. And it's okay if you decide to eat it, but when it's not okay, it's when you affect the lives of your children, when you affect the lives of those around you. And now you have people, I have family members and elders, not going to say names, can't even walk, can't remember their life, can't even go take a shit. You have to change his diapers, you have to feed him.
Exactly.
All because, and guess what? You're feeding him the same stuff that have him in that state. Now, of course, we know the trauma and emotions is a part of it as well. But you do know, but even if you don't address that right away, if you just let go of certain foods, that helps. So we have to hold ourselves accountable. And to the elders in the community, being here in the Bahamas, so much people sick here. I know it's worldwide, but just here alone, I mean, in their late 40s and early 50s, like it can't even walk up the stairs, and you eat yourself to where you're crippled.
Yep.
It ain't right to put that on kids, man. It ain't right.
No,
it's okay for you to do it, but when you start to affect other people's life in such a way, you can really have to address yourself. And I said that to myself. I'll never go down like that. I'll never want to do that to my kids. And I don't have kids, but I'm saying, like, if I ever do,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's a burden. It's a burden. You're putting a financial burden. You're putting trauma on them. It's tough to deal with, watching someone die and watching them die because they wouldn't even take care of themselves. And you hear, and I come from a Christian background, I hear, oh, pray for so-and-so, he has some heart issue or something. I mean, I've heard, you hear this all the time. They've got something wrong with their heart or something's going on. And it's always food related. And they eat like shit. And all these people that are asking for miracles and prayers, they know that he eats like shit, and they eat like shit too. And they're probably on the same path, but they don't care. Like, just pray. Just pray.
Bro, and Chris, some just don't believe in it, bro. Like, when I here in Bahamas, they just don't believe in it. They honestly believe it's like something you catch, Even like at a funeral, at the wake, they'll serve the same food, the same type of food, They just don't, it's like they just don't want to accept it,
Mm-hmm.
And it really, and then, I'm sitting there like, God damn, man, like, we got to do better, We really got to do better. And that's what these podcasts are for,
There you go. Breaking the paradigms, the false paradigms. And what's the real God then? What is the real God? Your real God at that point is not God. Because if you believe in God, you believe you were fearfully and wonderfully made. I've heard that said a million times. Well, if you believe you were fearfully and wonderfully made, then why the fuck don't you trust your body to heal itself? You even see that it heals itself when you get a cut and you bleed and it coagulates and the body, scab forms. And the scab, as you know, Mark, the scab is new skin. And we peel off the skin because it gets itchy, or the scab because it gets itchy, and you're left with a little crevice, a scar. But if you leave that scab alone, it turns into skin. I mean, that's also what your pee is made of. It's skin. It's everything you're made of is your blood. So that's a miracle, pee therapy. But your body's a miracle because it heals itself. And we see examples of it, like God's like, hey, look, you just scratched yourself. I'm healing it for you. And I mean, I'm not saying it's like that guy, the guy, God, but I believe there's information, man. We were created somehow. I don't know how or what, but we are just way too intricate and self-healing. It didn't just happen on its own. No. It was made. But yeah, dude. So Christians don't trust God. They trust in the system. They trust in the lies that they were taught. And they fall for, and how do you fall for those lies if you're really connected to spirit and to love, but you believe this kind of bullshit that you need a pizza for dinner, or you're better off eating the pizza than not eating? How is that?
Yeah.
How does that even make sense?
And
yeah,
Chris, sorry to cut you off, but
no, I keep talking. Go ahead.
No, here they do cookouts to raise money for surgery for, and come on, man, come on.
The cookout is funded by the local hospital or the local surgeon.
Yeah, they get people in, for example, they'll get family and people in the community, they'll make tickets and sell tickets for the cookout in order to pay for a surgery or to get some scan or, and I was trying to tell this lady that was having a lung issue. And I'm saying yo, this ain't the way to go. You telling me, and this is how they get you. They get you to try to donate to these services, breast cancer and all of this. And it's just stealing money, and it doesn't go to anything that's everlasting. And what people need to understand is the true everlasting, what we call knowledge, is self-knowledge. And you realize that self-knowledge is very fucking silent. It doesn't really have to do that much with the English words. It has to do more with accepting the flow and trusting, acceptance and trust and willpower.
We block it with our ego.
Huh?
We block that information with our ego.
Yeah. And that's why the Bible said, do not lean on your own understanding. Don't do that. The minute you lean on your own understanding, which is the ego, which is your thoughts, you fuck it up.
Yeah. Man, dude, we could go on, couldn't we, for hours and hours?
No, I know, right? But, we want to keep it short. Say we do this once a week or twice, or however in the hell we feel like doing it, to be honest.
I like the last option there, whenever in the hell we feel like it.
Yeah, that's really it. For example, if I, how I getting on the melon diet, because I want to get off my vegan burger and alkaline burger shit.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit, man. It's again, because I want to develop myself to the point where I'm okay with being around family, being around that type of food, and not having to always indulge. You know what I mean? So so that's something I know that I address, and getting past the almond Alfredo pasta.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm seeing past my own. Not demonizing it, not saying okay, but I'm ready to drop it now. I'm just ready to drop that. So
it's a good tasting stimulant, and it doesn't mean you're never going to try again. It just means that you're not going to
be dependent
every day. Be dependent.
And again, and this whole food freedom thing, this breatharian thing, it's not about not eating and eating per se. It's just having choice.
Yes.
No one can tell you how to live, man. We ain't saying that. It's just having the choice to do it or not. Okay? Because you have this hunger implantation that took place in us, because it's more of a residual thought form that, again, change the nature of the cells. And the problem with cancer cells are so low in enzymic activity and biophotonic energy that they cannot synthesize the high instructions from the breath. So these cancer cells cannot create minerals. They cannot create the necessary things. They thrive on stimulants. So if we was to just get off of food, yes, you do die from starvation. That is real because of the state of the cells. Okay. Now, unless you really someone that know about urine therapy and you have the trust in the urine, maybe that'll work out. But if you someone that just getting into urine and you still live in fear and you don't know and you're reading books, you're not going to be sustained by it.
Yeah.
Not. But when you have the knowledge and trust, like what you did with the urine, and you did it cold turkey, like there was a food shortage here. I mean, even though I haven't done a long one, I could guarantee you I would more than likely be sustained by the urine because of what I know and the trust I have.
You would.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying again, but because of the cancer cells, especially with people that don't even know the urine therapy or even accept it like that, you know, you can't, this is, you know what? That's another podcast. I'm going to leave it right there.
I want to throw this out there for people that are still listening right now. If you're up for this, Mark, I think that maybe if people comment under this video, I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel and probably to my website and maybe to Facebook. I don't know. But if you comment underneath, anybody who's listening, and you want to hear us talk about certain subjects, list it below, and we'll give it our personal experience. We won't tell you what we've read in the book or what other guys are working on. It'll be what we know, what we're working on, what we've experienced. And also, I was going to throw this out there to you, and I don't know if people would be interested in this. I'd like to hear from other people tell me. I thought that this would be kind of cool, man. We get people to request that we go and do not a reaction. You know how those reaction videos are all over YouTube? I think they're kind of cool, depending on what they are, or funny. But we could do reaction, quote unquote, videos to videos that are in the truth movement. Like, what do you guys think of this video from David Icke? And we could just play it and pick it apart, or say, oh, it sounds great. Listen to it point by point, pause it where we have to, and say, here's what I see wrong with that, or here's why I agree with that. And I think people might really like that, actually. And maybe we could just start a Patreon together.
I think definitely, bro. It's not gonna, we can transmutate it. We can, whatever comes to mind, whatever comes in that intuition. Even PowerPoints. Even like if I create a PowerPoint, and we do that, the PowerPoint, or picking a video, or picking a documentary. Definitely, bro. So yeah, it's a lot. It's okay. This is it's a lot to look forward to, bro. I'm really, really grateful to be working with you, because it really pushes me, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I was really having a difficult time just to get on the watermelon and melons and pea and but just this interaction alone, consistently, it really fucking helps, bro. Like, on some real shit. Really helps.
Well, I'm grateful for you too, and I'm actually learning some stuff from you, just like you're maybe learning from me, and we learn from each other. We both have something to offer each other. That's what I'm telling you. And I think that I've always appreciated your truth and the things you post, because I know it comes from your heart. I don't always see that. I don't always see things coming from the heart, and I can tell when it is, and I appreciate it in you. So yeah, man, this is good. This is just the start. I see this as just the start, and the world needs truth and no bullshit right now. Needs firsthand experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is a crowd that is dying to hear these things.
There's a growing crowd, man.
Every day, every second, man. Every day,
Yeah.
So, family, I guess, we're going to keep it, like you say, 30 minutes to an hour each time, just, even 20 minutes with some. We just want to, I know people have busy days. You got to do the kids. You got to do, you got to deal with a lot of different things, so
yeah,
a lot sometimes just to sit and, just listen and receive. So
we might just jump on and do 5 minutes. Who knows? I mean, whatever it ends up
5 minutes, right.
Yeah. Could be just like a single subject little thing that we want to talk about real quick. And I think that would be good. Instead of just chatting, we record everything and just put it out there.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, this is only the beginning. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. This is number 1. to the podcast. Many more to look forward to. All right.
Many more. Sounds great to me.